And in this role, he helped ensure that there were resources dedicated to disseminating PIAAC data and supporting research that will help inform policy and practice. So thank you very much, Dan. So to help us guide our next steps in this research, Dr. Dan McGrath is going to tell us what's next for PIAAC.
So I'm just going to run through kind of from NCS perspective some things that are coming up. Some of them you've probably already heard about, but I'll just run through them. And a little bit about what's happening in development at the across countries for the next cycle of PIAAC, because one of the things I do is I serve as representative for the U.S. to the border participating countries for PIAAC. And I also actually, in that way, I wanted to recognize Marco Pacanella, who's in the back, who's from the OECD and has been with us the last couple of days. Thanks for coming, Marco. So here is kind of a list of things for the U.S. with PIAAC collections and reporting going out to 2021. So in 2014, I think you've probably heard about the National Supplement, and there's information about it in the packet. We collected over a sample of groups, and reports will start coming out on that soon. In 2015, in August, the Education Skills Online, the online version of PIAAC that provides individual scores, went live, and it's available in the United States in Spanish and English. And actually, I was going to suggest to Jaleh that next year for this, maybe it would be nice if we did some sessions with the Education Skills Online, maybe buy a gross of codes, or I'm not sure what the unit is that they sell them by at the ETS, but buy a whole bunch of codes from ETS and maybe give them to people to use in programs or to use in studies, and come back and tell us what they learn next wintertime, if you decide that you want to do this again. And so the Education Skills Online is now available. You can get codes, you buy codes to do I guess licenses. Basically, you're buying a code in order to take the test, and you can seek them through contacting us at NCES is one way that you can do that. And then in 2017, we're going back out in the field to collect more U.S. data in order to be able to fill out a larger 2012 through 2017 data set for more in-depth analysis, including county level estimates using small area estimation methods. And then PIAAC, the next cycle of PIAAC is expected to happen something like 2021. And our plan for that in the United States for that collection is to do all of this collecting that we've been doing from 2012 through 2017 in something more like a 3-year period. So we don't have funding sufficient to collect a big sample all in 1 year, but over 3 years we probably could do that. And so we would just keep going back out in the field in a more planful way, instead of the way that this time we kind of kept going back out as we got money and realized we really needed to get more information. So those are the kind of the broad strokes of the plan. So what are the features of the National Supplement? This is larger sample of young adults. It's larger sample of unemployed adults. It's a larger sample overall, which means you could do more detailed breakdowns for subpopulations. And we added new populations. So we have older adults, older meaning older than the international PIAAC sample, and we have incarcerated adults. So in some ways we've kind of replicated the target population of the NAL study from the older national assessment. And these are some upcoming reports. And I think not all these dates are exactly up to date. We'll be reissuing the U.S. National First Look with updated with the 2014 data in probably something like February. And the focus on this will be on unemployed and young adults and older adults. These are 3 of the groups that we either oversampled or sampled anew in the supplement data collection. And in May, or probably more like June, Holly, right? The prison report should come out, and then in probably more like July, the report focused on the young adults. The OECD, of course, is really busy too. They had, if I'm not sure if people saw them, hopefully you did. There were maybe 3 or 4 reports that came out last summer, and there are more in the works. So adults with low proficiency is due to come out in January, and age, aging, and proficiency will come out in March. And Marco is an author of that report. Is that correct? Yes, is he nodding? And then in June, the end of June, the second international report. So this will have an expanded set of countries. It will have the countries that participated in the second round of PIAAC, and those are the countries listed here. And most of the focus of the report will be on those countries, but it will include updated data and, unfortunately for the United States, rankings of the countries, including the new countries. And then later in 2016, possibly in 2017, we should see skills use at work. Also, people probably aware of this, but there's a third round of PIAAC with additional countries, and that data collection will be 2017 or so, I think. And so the report coming out updated with still more countries. So at this point will be well over 30 countries, and more like 40 countries will come out probably 2018 or 2019. So, and then let me tell you more about kind of the features of the 2017 collection, where we kind of round out the decade of collection for us. It's a nationally representative sample, be about 3,500 adults. It should support new national estimates. Now, it's not very many adults in order to be able to do much breaking down, but a new overall result to compare with 2017. It also will allow us to have, if you think of the whole period 2012 to 2017, about 12,000 adults, and that is a lot, and well, kind of a lot. Enough enough that we should be able to support, through small area estimation methods, state estimates and county level estimates. Okay, and we've actually talked about doing some work before then to see if we can estimate in some other ways down to the county level too. So that's actually the real impetus for this collection 2017, is to be able to provide county level estimates. And then I wanted to talk to you about some things that are happening internationally, the talk that's happening about the design for the second cycle. And I wanted to urge people to provide input, and you don't have to do it this afternoon while you're thinking about I need to get to the plane, but you can be doing it by sending in or calling in with your thoughts about the next cycle. So some things that are being talked about. One is revising the problem solving, and this would separate problem solving from technology-rich environments, basically. So the thought was that we weren't learning about the problem solving skills of adults who were not able to work on the computer or chose not to work on the computer, and so we didn't know problem solving for those folks. And so we're separating, there's thought about separating problem solving. There's also the possibility of problem solving will disappear from PIAAC in the next cycle. So if problem solving of some form is of importance to you, then you should let us know that, because I would say it's up in the air. It's important, okay. There's enhanced measures of emotional and social domains. So they're being talked about in lots of different ways, but this is basically self-efficacy, self-control, social skills. Some of the, we're mostly, there's difficulty internationally talking in the language used to talk about them, but I think that you understand kind of what the idea here is, to not just focus on numeracy and literacy or even problem solving. And then improved measures of education and training. There may be an optional employer survey. This also, I think, is really up in the air, whether there'll be an employee survey at all. If there is an employee survey, it'll be optional, meaning that countries will choose to do it or not. The employee survey may or may not also be matched with adults respondents. So it may be you're an employee and you're matched with your employer. It's more likely going to be something like a class of employees matched with like a class of employers. It's less likely to be a kind of one-to-one match in that way. And so, as I said before, we're seeking input on design. in April, the countries will come together and we'll talk about kind of, this will be the end of the wish list stage. So we'll be talking about, this is what we would like to do. Can you tell us, you know, a design for each of these things that we want to do? And then in December, it'll be, okay, now we're making choices about which we'd rather have given the finite resources and the finite amount of time that we have with adults in the households. So this period between now and April, we'd really like to hear from people about, you know, kind of what you'd like. And then the period between April and December will be like, well, you know, how would you rank the things that you would like, so that we can go back in December and hopefully come out with a cohesive but doable whole design for the PIAAC in 2021. And that is the end of my presentation.